Thank you.
I needed 2 mics too as well, so this one is really sensitive. So at this time, I will call the Finance Committee meeting for Wednesday, May 12th, 2021 to order. Tonight's meeting is special because it is a public listening session. It's not about us, it's about the public. Wausau recently became aware that we are eligible, like every other community, to receive funds from the American Rescue Plan to the tune of just over $15 million. With that, we felt that a robust effort to engage the public's priorities was certainly important to us. We'll have some big decisions to make with some one-time funding. There's some defined guardrails for how we can spend the funding. We can't spend it on just anything we want, but there's a lot of valuable things out in the community that we can use it for. That said, we'll go through just a few introductions here for those of us that are up there on the panel. And then what we will do is ask the public, as we did in the mayor's press release, to contemplate and react to 2 specific questions pertaining to the use of American Rescue Plan funding in our community. The first one is, in what areas do you feel our community felt the weight of the pandemic the most? Where out in the community did you see those impacts, and where do you feel that they weigh the heaviest? Because that's really where recovery would begin from. The second question is, what does true recovery look like to you? And whether that is in terms of health, economics, infrastructure, we want to have those conversations with you as well. Once we get through our introductions, what we'll do is ask you if you want to give comment to step up to the podium, just to my left here, to your right, and offer any feedback that you wish. We are recording the meeting tonight on public access. And that meeting will be available for on-demand viewing also by the public who is not with us to attend this evening. With that, we'll start our introductions. I'm Lisa Rasmussen. I'm the chairman of the Finance Committee for the City of Wausau, and I've been on the Wausau City Council since 2008. And I think what I'll do is go to my right and then to my left.
Hi, I'm Katie Rosenberg. I'm the mayor. Thank you very much for joining us. I guess I'll have a couple comments, but maybe after the introduction. Mary Ann Groth, I'm the finance director.
Hi, I'm Michael Martins. I'm alderperson for District 2 on the east side of town. Been on the council since 2018.
Hi, I'm Dawn Hertz. I am with District 9. I'm to the west of John Muir.
Hi, I'm Deborah Ryan, R-Y-A-N. I'm in District 11, which John Muir is. I'm the lead of the West East neighborhood. I've been on the council for a year and a half. And with my attending city meetings for over 10 years and my master's in business, accounting, not-for-profit, and municipal background, I hope to bring the best solutions for the city. And again, I would encourage my colleagues to speak slowly and distinctly so people can understand us. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is on. Thank you for that. What we want to do now is turn it over to any members of the public who are in attendance who'd like to offer comment. Sir, if you'd like to come up first, come up to the podium.
Could you just tell me what your procedure is going to be in terms of deciding when these funds are going to be distributed? Are you planning?
Do we have a microphone for him?
Why don't we, what we'll do first is, why don't we start with...
Sir, could you come up here so
Hold
we
on,
can hear
Deb.
you?
Hold on, Deb.
Lisa's in charge.
I'm chairing the meeting. Hold on, Deb, please.
What I'm hearing.
Hold on, Deb, please. What we'll do first, so that we can get some information out about the parameters of the funding, is I will turn it over to the mayor and Mary Ann to talk a little bit about the American Rescue Plan funding and what things that money can be used for, and that will help us frame our discussion a little bit. They do have a mic between them that is live, so we should be able to hear them when I turn this one off.
Okay. Can you hear me?
This is for hearing.
Let's grab it. Hi. So this this is a good question, the procedure for the funds. Congress last month passed this plan, and it has allocated $15.6 million to Wausau. Wausau is an entitlement city, and what that means is that we will get the money directly from the federal government. It won't come through the state. We'll get that money in two, what they call tranches. So we'll get about a little more than $7 million this week, probably. And then we'll get another little more than $7 million next year. And we have to allocate those funds by the end of 2024. Now, the projects that are eligible for these dollars include revenue replacement for the provision of government services, to the extent that that was a reduction in revenue due to the COVID-19 public health emergency. It is also expenditures of negative economic impacts, including assistance to small businesses, households, and hard-hit industries for economic recovery. That could include any small business, probably like tourism, and it also includes premium pay for essential workers. And lastly, investments in water, sewer, and broadband. I printed out in a big thing right there, you can look at it. These are the treasury guidance that we got just yesterday from the League of Wisconsin Municipalities that just kind of briefly is an overview there, so you can look at that. Now, there are restrictions on the use of these funds. Now, we cannot use the funds directly or indirectly to offset tax reductions or delay a tax or a tax increase. We cannot deposit these funds into a pension fund. We have to allocate them, again, by the end of 2024. So again, the things that we're asking people to think about are the biggest economic impact that you've seen because of the pandemic. We want to know what economic recovery looks like to you. And we also are interested in what we should consider as we evaluate the programs that people are suggesting. Now, we're getting public feedback from you now. We've been getting emails all day about this in addition to this listening session. We will also have some virtual sessions, thanks to the Department of Revenue. They're partnering with us for some economic recovery programming. And we, of course, always want to hear from you. If you feel like coming to a city council meeting, we would love to hear from you. Or snail mail, anything you want. So that's what I have. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. I guess one other thing you can't use it to just place into your reserve. Right.
Yes, we have to have it allocated and used some by 2024. For sure allocated.
Most of the advice that we've been receiving to date is that communities should take their time in making these decisions because there will be other funds available, and so you want to maximize the impact to the community. So as other programs are rolled out, we want to use the funds in the most impactful way, and if there's funds, let's say, that are for specifically for one sector of the business community, we would want to tap into those first and then use these funds to supplement that, because there are some, possible guidelines that would say if you received money from the city, then you wouldn't be able to participate in another program. So, all of the advice we've been getting is to not hurry through this and make sure that we know all of our options first. And so I think, to the mayor's point, we're just going to spend some time gathering the information of ideas and concerns and thoughts that the community has.
I'm going to be done talking soon, but I do want to acknowledge we do have the American County Board Chair of the HR and Finance Committee here. The county is also getting an allocation of funding, $25 million, I believe, and they are very interested in your feedback as well. So there will likely be opportunities both for your feedback to the county and also opportunities for us and other municipalities to partner to make a big impact in our region. And I'm done. I'll rove around, and if you don't want to speak, I can collect your sheet, that's no problem. We have sheets over there, if you feel like filling them out.
Thank you for that. We're, at this time, we'll be ready to take public comment. One thing that we also discussed at our finance committee meeting last night was a little bit about our process. This time, we are putting public engagement and public feedback at the front end. Many times in the past, it seemed like by the time the city gets to a point where it's ready to make decisions, that the decision arrives all but done, and many times the public feels lost in that process. So one of the things we wanted to change in this cycle is make sure that we gauge public opinion early on and throughout our process, so that we make sure that we're making decisions that are not only impactful for the community, but that reflect the community's priorities and not just those of the city, although those two things should not be that different. One other thing that we want to do is, we talked in our finance committee last night of engaging the city's financial planning firm, Ellers, to help us manage some of this process so that we make sure that we make sound and wise financial decisions. With this money, it's a one-time budget allocation, or it's a one-time allocation of funding, and Ellers is working with a number of other Wisconsin communities, so there will be some really good ideas shared there between them and us as far as what they're seeing other communities doing as well, so we'll be able to get that insight by working with the financial planner that the city already works with. So that did come out of our finance meeting last night. We're just in the earliest of stages with this right now, and we will likely have multiple other options for public feedback as we go through the process, but today is just step one, and we really want to know, out in the community, where did the weight of the pandemic fall the most? And, what does a path back from that look like to our residents? With that, I'll turn it over for some public comment. If anyone wants to make some, come on up to the podium to state your name and address for the record. And we do not have a whole room full tonight, so you can take all the time you need. If we had a house full, I would say 3 minutes, but no need tonight. Welcome.
Welcome. Well, welcome to you. My name is Thomas Brown. I live on 715 North 5th Avenue, right in the neighborhood over the hill. I've been a resident on and off in this community since 1947. I've gone through the school system, and I own a duplex at that address. My brothers have built much of this community, Tim Brown, Mike Brown, and my sister and brothers still live here. I think you have a hell of an opportunity here, and I don't really want to think in terms of what happened with the pandemic. I want to think in terms of what can happen with this kind of money. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, the police department has roughly a $10 to $12 million budget, am I correct? And the total city budget's about 45 million?
For the general fund.
And so we have here, between the county and the city, is a combined amount that's almost equal to a 1-year spending on the part of the city. Now, I would rather we think in terms of what is the problem with the city of Wausau. I went to a meeting and someone said we're going to make this the best little city in America. The problem with that is October, November, December, January, February, and March. We're never going to be the best city in America, but we can be a whole hell of a lot better than we are now. You can take my block, you can take any block in the city, and in my opinion, the problem is low property values. My house is valued at about $100,000 plus, as are most houses in the community. You couldn't replace my house with what building costs are today, probably for less than $300,000. So I would like to see an emphasis placed on giving people who are the heart and soul of the factory and manufacturing in this community, people who are working for between, let's say, $8 to $18, 20, even $25. $25 an hour is $50,000 a year, which is not a lot of money to raise a family of 4 on. And that the city has some tremendous opportunities. I'm thinking of the property that lies north of the riverfront development where Marathon Concrete used to be. And you could start there because you have a tremendous facility in the municipal, I don't know if it's municipal anymore, the ballpark that's there. And you could rebuild Wausau, not with high-rise, high-rent buildings that appeal to people who have $8,000 to $10,000 a month in retirement income, but that would accommodate working class people and really make Wausau a much, much better community. Now, it's my impression that we just gave Mr. Godorsky, and I congratulate the man, he's done tremendous things for the city, about $3.5 million. Is he really the one that needs the subsidy? I don't think he does. But that's what you constantly do, is you reward the people who are the biggest people in the community instead of the smallest. And we could, if we put our heads together, come up with a way to essentially rebuild the entire city of Wausau, and then we could make it one of the very best communities in the United States. We have a confluence of opportunity, is what I would call it. We have healthcare, as big as any small city in America. We have a new university medical program. We do still have manufacturing jobs. We have no mass transit. I don't care so much about the water and sewer is important, but I don't care so much about broadband in the city itself. I think that's served by private sector. Public health is important. We could actually provide a model healthcare system for the United States of America because of what we have here. We have United Healthcare here. We have hospital facilities at both ends of town. Marathon County is composed of 62 municipalities. That was important 150 years ago when we could only travel 3 or 4 miles to get to meetings. I didn't even hear about this meeting until a few hours ago. Something is tremendously wrong. It's terrible turnout. School board had a referendum, 10% of the people voted. We are failing as a community. And it's not because of COVID. COVID just pointed out what's happening. So I think that $40 million would be a real shot in the arm. It still isn't a lot of money. It really isn't. But it would be a great start to take the whole city and work with, I guess there's only a few landlords in town, work with whoever is necessary to work with and start rebuilding livable dwelling places for the people that work. Wausau provides a lot of labor for the suburban communities. We have a lot of houses that are 3, 4, 500,000, and at 10, 15 bucks an hour, you're not going to live there. And that's the crux of the problem with education and with healthcare, is a socioeconomic problem. We can't fix that, but we can at least give people a decent place to live. I have a background in construction. There's a lot of people with a background in construction. Let's not build multi-million-dollar medical facilities. Let's provide medical care for kids. Pick an age. When do you want to stop taking care of children? Should they be taken care of prenatal? Should they be taken care of until the age of 5, 10, 15? Cut it off when you want, but let's set up a community where we really do that. So that when a crisis comes along in healthcare, we know what our population is like. I don't know what our vaccination rate is. It should be 100%. Let's be the first community to get 100% vaccination. Is the First Amendment to the Constitution the right to remain stupid and inflict your stupidity upon other people? I don't think so. We've got a lot of work to do in the community to make this a better place. Let's start with providing affordable, clean, energy-efficient housing for our working class.
Thank you for that, Tom. Anyone else would like to offer public comment? Come on up and state your name and address for the record.
Bruce Brown, 1115 North 10th Street. I just want to thank you for providing this opportunity for public input for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It just kind of looks like it's going to need to be a little more to get get more public input. Housing security is a requirement for stability of one's job and health. When evictions have gone up, so has unemployment and sickness. COVID has exposed this. Jobs, particularly from working class occupations, provide the essential money to stimulate businesses and the economy. It is counterintuitive that the vast majority of COVID relief money should be given to business, as it was previously when only 30% went to rent relief. In Wausau, we have a great need for housing, especially for low-income and working people. Prior to COVID, 400 new residences were anticipated to be needed. In addition, 336 households were overcrowded, 31% people lived in unaffordable housing, 42% renters and 21% homeowners spent more than 30% of their income on their rents and mortgages, respectively. And Wausau leads the nation in its prevalence of substandard homes, which are unsafe, terribly energy efficient, and costly. Currently, at least 254 Wausonians sit waiting on a waiting list for affordable housing. Once the eviction moratorium is finally lifted, up to 75,000 Wisconsinites are anticipated to lose their homes and be drowned in insurmountable debt. What can the city of Wausau do to address these dire needs of our working people? With much of the $15.6 million coming directly from the American Rescue Plan Act, and possibly more distributed from the state and or in collective collaboration with the county. I have immediate, medium, and long-term actions. Immediately, cancel rental debt and late fees for those who can't pay it. Adopt just cause eviction policy and end source of income discrimination by landlords. Number 2, immediately designate 254 current rental units as subsidized to clear the waiting list. I was just made aware that UWSP, Marathon County here, has vacant dorm rooms. Number 3, provide subsidies to hotels as transitional residences for current homeless individuals and families, particularly women with children, who have a very difficult time living on the streets. Number 4, adopt the formation of the Wausau Affordable Housing Regional Task Force with the goal of ending homelessness by 2025. Immediate interventions. 1, develop a Housing for All Job Corps to renovate, remodel, and build income-restricted units in Wausau. Unite NTC, local carpenters unions, and willing builders and remodelers like Mr. Tom Brown, to provide well-paying jobs with benefits and skills training while addressing the community's housing needs. Number 2, formalize the Housing First model. The Housing First model puts people in homes first, then assists them with their psychological, social, and economic needs through a case management process. Long-term, establish mechanisms of long-term funding for affordable housing, rent control, friendly zoning practices, as well as challenging the obstructionist preemptions with collective statewide municipality actions to take back local control. Again, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Bruce. Anyone else like to offer public comment on this item? Come on. State your name and address for the record, and we'll record your comment.
Hi, I'm Jay Coldwell at 3422 Horseshoe Spring Road in Wausau. I'm one of the owners of the Five Koshes Yoga and Wellness Center here in Wausau. And as I think about infrastructure needs that we have and likely lots of other service businesses have where people need to come in, gather in groups, and with the likelihood of continuing issues with virus maybe in smaller waves coming in the future, there's a need to, a continuing need to revise HVAC systems, air handling systems, so that we can bring in fresh air and make sure that we have a good exchange of air. We're presently monitoring CO2 levels just to make sure that we've got healthy exchange, but we have very small class sizes. And we need to get back to a level that's more sustainable, as I'm sure restaurants and retail establishments do, and that sort of thing. The other big need is that the year of kind of living in our houses has changed the way people live probably forever, and we found that there are a lot of things that we like to do on the internet, a lot of things that can be done live on the internet, and a lot of things that people would just as soon do via recording. We're also, it provides an opportunity for small businesses because now we can have customers outside the area. It also provides an opportunity for large, well-funded companies to take our customers from us. And so investment in technology, the ability to deliver video services over the internet, people that are needed, experts that are needed to make sure that can be done efficiently, software and hardware, those kinds of things. That kind of investment is necessary for us to continue to be successful in the future, and again, probably a lot of other small businesses in the community. Thanks.
Thank you for that, Jay. Any additional public comment tonight regarding the American Rescue Plan funds and their usage?
I'm John Robinson. I live at 1226 Highland Court in Wausau, and I want to thank you for the opportunity. We had hoped to join you with the county, but I think there were concerns about not knowing how we could spend the money, and the county intends to have similar listening sessions in the future. But I would encourage the city to look at trying to develop a plan soon, because there are people and businesses that are still suffering and that have been impacted. And while we have until the end of 2024 to commit it and 2026 to spend it, there is a need now. I would also encourage you to look at how you can help with some projects that are underway that would need the support, that would address some critical underlying needs. And I'm going to speak a little bit as a chair of the City of Wausau Policing Task Force. And one of the problems that we have is homelessness. And we have a community partners campus under consideration that can not only address and provide services to those homeless, but also a component of it is potential housing to address those needs. Given the fact that this is one-time money and there is a critical need at this time, consideration should be made to try and coordinate a response that would help that campus and associated services develop. I would encourage some thought and coordination with other units of government, including the county, to look at the whole issue of mental health treatment, substance misuse treatment, and behavioral health services, which are fundamental issues that have been identified by people in this community and the police department as ongoing problems. And if we have the opportunity to take these dollars and be innovative in our approaches, it may go a long way in trying to address those community problems into the future. So I encourage you to be innovative in those. I reach out to you as a chair of the county's Board of Health to help us with the vaccine administration and in encouraging people to do that. If we can coordinate our efforts to encourage a higher level of vaccination, I think we will all be better served in the future. You find there's an opportunity to help small businesses and others, and I would encourage, again, a collaborative approach to tourism. But one of the things that is putting this area on the map is the development of off-road bike trails, other things. Can we be like Stevens Point and connect those? There's some opportunities in assisting tourism to promote tourism with this one-time money to do some of those connections so we can get from one park to another park, or one attraction to another attraction with multimodal transportation system that would allow and encourage the development of tourism, not only helping the residents, improving the quality of life, but bringing in people from outside. And finally, I just would encourage us to give some thought to how do we help those businesses, those small businesses and those individuals who have not recovered fully from this pandemic and are in need of assistance, and that will be a collaborative approach. But I thank you for doing the hearing and the opportunity to comment.
Thank you for that, Mr. Robinson. Additional public comment tonight?
Can I call my best?
Yeah, go ahead.
How you doing? My name's Kristen R. Fleet, citizen of Wausau. I think a few people have mentioned, and I want to mention again, that due to this pandemic, and most of us who've been in this community recognized it before then, that there was some socioeconomic disparities facing the Black community, and that the economic disparity has not really been addressed. Even though this is a good opportunity for the city to take an actual step toward supporting that ethnic relationship to be something more than agitation. This is an opportunity to use some funds to help build that bond of unity. My organization wishes to see a more collaborative effort between all of these people here, because half of them are talking about our community, but half of them don't really, I mean, most of them I don't really communicate with on a consistent basis. Is it their fault? Is it my fault? It doesn't matter, but these are the communications that needs to get fixed. We don't have any sound entrepreneurship programs for the Black community here. Innovation. The county is struggling with trying to get public health issues going, with getting people to get back to court and certain issues like that. There are certain aspects of our society, due to history, that people trust people from their own community more than others, even if you're right. So this is a good opportunity to break some ground on making a visible, tangible effort, both socially and economically, to bring some presence to the Black community if we are to be serious about recognizing some of the disparities in not just jobs and housing, but also in education, also in presence. Not that there's a lot of people here, but we know that the level of participation from the Black community is not great here. I would like to see that grow, not just be something we just argue over all the time. And if we're going to rescue something, let's rescue some unity. Let's rescue working together. Let's rescue some sense of humility. Because at the end of the day, we all should want the same thing. We want to see people not just come here and survive, but people come here and thrive. And not just have an opportunity for a handout, but have an opportunity to be the one to help others. It's a bigger issue if you're not creating innovation and a pathway for self-sufficiency. People need to know that, it's great that we can give you a handout, but it's even better if we give you an economic and social path to self-sufficiency. That's the end game of a strong and powerful community that wants the best for everybody. That's how homes grow, that's how businesses grow, and that's how community grows. And there's no need for just certain parts of the community to be impacted in a positive way, and certain sectors constantly being felt like they're trampled upon. This is a good opportunity for us to not just use our words, but be able to say we have some money to actually back up what we want to see take place. In the long run, this is going to benefit us all. And I believe if we do it in a positive way, we will be the proactive community that won't be just reacting when the next thing happens, because we'll have something to lean upon and say, this is what we're doing. We're trying something new. Because doing the same thing and getting the same results is anti-productive. At the end of the day, I want Black children, white children in this community not just get along, but actually socially and economically thrive. We talk about the field of tourism. Well, what would draw a black family here if they wanted to spend their tourism dollar? Do we even think about the ethnic possibilities of tourism with other communities? We gotta widen this, and this is a good opportunity to do it. I really appreciate it. I will not blame nobody for other people not showing up because I believe you did a good job. We just gotta push that a little bit more, but thank you for putting this on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Chris. Any additional public comment for this evening?
Hello, Deborah Ryan, 702 Elm Street. I wanted to apologize for coming down, but I could not hear what they were saying. Everything that was said was mumbling, and I encourage people to slow down and be very succinct. But from up there, it was just mumbling. I just received the information just yesterday from Katie, which I was hoping she would be sharing with the rest of the public, that gives more details from the League of Wisconsin Municipalities Association that's located in Madison. But in going through it briefly, a lot of the information is relative to services that the county does. So there is somewhat limited of what involves the city. Haven't been following an interest in lead lateral replacements for about a decade. There has been some discussion with the waterworks, and there has been some federal funding in the last couple of years of millions of dollars. And I encouraged us last year to ask for $1 million in grant funds because other communities like Milwaukee have asked for it. But the city of Wausau only asked for $350. So that's all that was asked for. But within a lot of the document, they're talking about replacing lead laterals, service lines, both on the city side or on the homeowner side. And I was fortunate for my 101-year-old house to have it replaced with the city grant funds last year. I do think that we need to work more about the water and wastewater, and maybe, I'm not sure if we could pay down what debt we have so that in the long run we can reduce the increase in those water and sewer rates. I recently got my quarterly bill for $65. But I'm a miser. I'm a saver. I've been doing this for decades. But I've just heard from another senior that their bill was over $120 for a 3-month period of time. And for some of those, this increase of 40% or more is really affecting what income that they have. I happen to own a house that's 101 years old. Tax-wise, I'm assessed at $85,000. For my house, if it was going to be replaced, it would be worth $202,000. And I have a solid old house with hardwood floors, French door, oak molding, and some homes that you would find maybe worth $300,000, $400,000. But I am very happy to have a low tax rate. And I don't want to be paying taxes for a lot more. And I do think that maybe within these dollars, the city can look at a home repair for a large portion of the city, so to make improvements in older homes. But just in a meeting I was in today, over 50% of the homes in Wausau are 50 years or older. And so that makes them affordable because they're not new construction at $200 a foot. But you can make some some upgrades or get it weatherized and have the best of both worlds. So we'll have to find out more information. I, for myself, was under the impression this was a listening session for city representatives and the county to be federal and state speakers. And I'm sorry there wasn't any signs directing people and the misinformation. And then I guess most of the county decided not to come at the last minute. But we need to do a better job of letting all the people know, giving them the information so they can ask more questions. And the key is we need to inform our residents and keep them in the loop. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Additional public comment this evening regarding American Rescue Plan? Come on up.
Thank you for having this listening session. So when I think about a growing city and what's happened in the past year, one thing that I think about and a lot of the conversation that we have on county board, my name is Kalo, address is 620 Lincoln Avenue. So I'm also on county board and on school board, and so a lot of the conversations that we have is to attract young persons to the city. And so my experience is when I've gone to other cities that are growing, what I would really love to see Wausau do is if there was any money in in the rescue plan for maybe bringing complimentary broadband to downtown. I think that would really attract businesses and people to our downtown. The 400 block concerts are very popular, and so if we, I think having complimentary broadband downtown would be a big attraction. One thing that I'm really passionate about also is clean, efficient, and affordable energy for the city. I don't know what that looks like, but I would really like to see that in the future as well. Also, I know that right now the realty business is booming right now. And so if there could be any programs created for grants for persons to become first homeowners, so I think that would really help our city as well. And also, it would provide affordable housing for persons who do want to become first-time homeowners. There is a project right now that the county will be looking to in the future, and it's called the West Side Project. I think I'm getting that right, John? And I think a collaboration between the city and the county regarding that project would be fruitful. The dormitory for UWSP Wausau campus, the four-year college, they're giving that to the county, and so we're going to own that building now. But the building is very old, and it needs, what we've been told is renovations wouldn't help it. And so maybe a collaboration between the county and the university and the city, we could probably do something for the West Side Project together. Also, I've heard from the executive director of the Hmong American Center, Yiling Zhang, that they're a nonprofit organization and they really don't have any funding. So during the pandemic, there were issues with translation, educating the Hmong community, especially those who are older that don't speak English or speak very little English. And so if I would love to see some money go into translation services so that we can recover from the pandemic as well. make sure everyone gets vaccinated, or most people get vaccinated, and they get the information that they need for booster shots as well into, past 2021, 22, and moving forward. I would also love to see the sharing of more information and education for the public on the vaccines, the virus, and if that could be through TV and radio. That would also be very helpful for the Hmong community as well, because a lot of older Hmong persons, they do watch a lot of TV and radio. And then last but not least, we really do need mass transit in Wausau, especially going from Wausau into Weston and Rib Mountain. They're growing communities. There's Target out there. There's Walmart out there, and we've lost ShopGo in Wausau, so there's not that shopping opportunity in Wausau. But if we could get, some mass transportation out into those areas, that would be, I think that would be really helpful for our city. And I do know that there's a state statute out there that would prevent that kind of, and we have to work with Weston and Rib Mountain. But I do know that through the transportation subcommittee on the county level, there was a resolution to extend the buses from Wausau out into Weston and Rib Mountain. But that's stalled a little bit. I guess it's still continuing conversations. But that's something that I would like to see in the future as well. So thank you.
Thank you for that. Additional public comment? Some final comments, Tom, come on up quick.
What do I need to do to get whatever information you've got, as Deb, I think, displayed the paper that's from the League of Municipalities, and then what do I need to do to get on, I would suppose, an email listing so I could be informed of the meetings relative to this issue?
The information that we received from the federal government and from the Wisconsin League of Municipalities just came in yesterday. The League of Municipalities information is available on their website, but what we can do also is develop a mode for sharing information with the public, perhaps through our website or through the City of Wausau app. So we'll have to look into that and see what we can do as far as posting links to those materials.
Yeah, I'm a little bit old-fashioned. I prefer hard copy. Is that a problem?
That we have to look into. I don't know what,
or at least a place where I
can
can go and look at the hard copy. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Yeah. The other comment I have is that one of the issues that's a pretty big issue, and if I would urge you, if you get a chance, there's a PBS program called Philly VA, and I'm not familiar with all the little ways to get a hold of that, but it's an incredible program. And next week, Tuesday, there's an election in Philadelphia determining whether Larry Karcher or not will continue as their DA. He's done some very dramatic things with the police department. And I think that when we look at this issue, as I said, it's, as other speakers have commented, it's probably a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something dramatic. And I think something dramatic should be done. If we do all of these little things, nothing dramatic will happen. And if we do something dramatic, we might change things for generations. So, again, I thank you for the opportunity for a small turnout, but at least it's a beginning. We've got a lot of work to do with this community to get people more involved.
We do. Thank you for that. It is certainly a point of beginning. One thing that we are also watching on our side is, like Marianne mentioned, synergies with other aid funds that may be coming in the future. I'm sure you're all aware that there is a very, very large infrastructure project trying to make its way through Washington. Obviously, Wausau has a decades-long backlog of local streets that could certainly use improvement. Alder Ryan mentioned lead service lines. A number of those things can be addressed if that project passes at the congressional level. And so there may be some synergies between some of these funds and some of those funds if Wausau receives an allocation where we really can see some big impactful change that is perhaps generational, because so often we are limited by a situation where we have way more needs than we have funds, and we've been in that cycle for generations. So we will continue to watch for those opportunities to have synergies, and we also look for opportunities to partner with other units of government, like former Mayor Robinson said, opportunities to work with the county, opportunities to work with peer communities. And so we'll continue to watch for those things as well. I thank you all for your public comment tonight. We will have multiple additional opportunities for public comment as these things come to fruition. All of our finance committee meetings are open meetings. We meet the second and fourth Tuesday of every month at 5:15 at City Hall. So if you are ever interested in the workings of city finance and the city budget, feel free to join us. We love to have the public attend our meetings and watch how we do what we do. If you're not able to attend in person, we live stream them all on public access. This meeting tonight is also being recorded for that purpose, so people can view it on demand. And we'll continue to accept public feedback as we have been prior to this meeting, even after this meeting. So the city's website has a public comment form. Feel free to access that anytime online and offer us comment on anything you'd like, whether it's American Rescue Plan or anything else that you have comments or questions on. We want to take that feedback and be aware of what people think. So I thank all of you for coming tonight, and we certainly appreciate your participation. With that, I'll take a motion. I guess we don't have to vote to adjourn. We'll declare ourselves adjourned. 6:23. Yeah, 6:23. Whatever. Turn your batteries to the dice.